Hey, yo, welcome. Hit 'em.
3, 2, 1. We are back with episode 15.
My favorite number.
Really?
Yep.
All right.
It
Why?
was my football number.
Oh.
I mean,
Ew. We got a long ways to go for mine. I think I could do episode 58.
58, yeah.
Yeah.
We only got a couple more weeks for mine. I'm 21.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Deion Sanders?
Yep.
Prime time.
Tim Tebow,
Yes.
Pat Mahomes.
Yeah. Oh, well, he wasn't around when. Yeah. You didn't do it because of Pat Mahomes. You did it because of, let's think, early 2000s, number 15.
Honestly, you want to know why?
Brandon Stokely.
So Gerald Temple's son, Wes, his number was 15 at A&M, and they won a couple of state championships.
Oh.
And so when they came in, we ran that triple option,
Yeah.
and I was like the guy that be able to do that. He's like, you want 15. So that was the only reason why I got 15.
All right, Coach. Sure.
I love it.
He saw something in me.
I love it. Well, I was messing with the mics for the listeners. We're trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
Like, we are what you would call green in the
A
podcast
work,
world.
A work in progress.
Yeah. So we're going to get it figured out. And if you have to just, this podcast is meant for you to listen in a quiet room by yourself. Just kidding. Yeah. I hope I can just figure out how to edit you and make it sound really loud. You're screaming. Nice. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, why? So 15 because of his
Coach T's
son.
son, yeah.
Why were you 21?
My birthday.
Oh.
I just stuck with it. I mean, everything from softball, and I've always just had 21.
Nice. I like it. Mine was pretty boring. I was 51 in high school because of Lofa Tatupu, and then I wanted a 50 in college, and you pretty much get to just pick.
And you had to, because your numbers are pretty much picked for you. As far as
No.
the realm.
No.
50,
To 79.
79.
Still, you got a range.
But, yeah.
Bart, you had a range too.
Well, Matt had more.
0 to 19.
I could go to 49 and then I'd skip to 80.
No, that's true. Yeah, that's true. That's good. So, anyway. Yeah, Jeremy was asking because he's like, is it like a Bible verse? And I was like, yeah, Proverbs 5:8. And he looked it up, and I had no idea what it was. He's like, there's no way. It's like, the woman at your doorstep's a temptress. Shut the door in her face. And I was like, yeah, that's what.
It sounded familiar when you said 5'8". I'm like,
yeah,
Proverbs, yeah.
yeah, she's a temptress. Get her out of
Get
here.
her
I'm
out.
trying to play football. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, well, we picked up where we left off with the chaos. So, love it. But no, we're just having fun with it. This week, 1 week down.
Yes.
Yes.
So we're back on it. Want to shout out. Everyone is still on it that I know of.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's still rolling.
So Chuck texted me. He had family coming into town this weekend. They went and rented a cabin down in Oklahoma, and he's like, "Man, I tried,
yeah.
but just chasing." He's like, "I probably could have counted chasing 4 kids around the hills and the lake, but it's like it didn't feel right."
Yeah.
But he restarted today,
Love it.
day 1. So
Shout out Chuck. Shout out. Oh boy. Cody, Jenna, Ramey, Kelsey, Lacey. Who else? There's more. Adam, Vince, Colton. If I'm missing you, I'm sorry. We'll get you next week. But I mean, they're all on it.
Yeah.
And so.
Love it or hate it, they're on it.
Yeah, and yeah, my Ramey I will not bet against because she will do it just to spite me because I think she can't or because I said she couldn't in a previous episode.
Yep.
And so yeah, so we were talking about doing a Deadpool, like of picking people who we think will fail, and then we all put money in, and then if that person fails first, you get to take it home. But we probably shouldn't bid on people's the lack of discipline. Yeah. So it's been good though, but I mean, they're a weekend. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's that's big, and finding the things that come with that, and the mental toughness, and all those things. And it's changed the gym
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
culture.
I bet.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was packed house this morning. It was nice to see. I even made a comment to Cody, like, back to like 5 a.m. crew again.
Yeah.
Like it used to be.
yeah, it's awesome. And there's just an energy and like just pick a different station every day. Love my 2000s throwback. We were getting it to Kesha,
Hey,
your girl.
Kesha. Long Beach.
Adam's on call. That phone beeped? What did it say?
Heather's watching.
Oh, perfect.
Made a beat.
Oh, it's all good. Well, like I said, We're just playing with technology here. Just a bunch of nitwits on Facebook Live and trying to podcast. So
Good thing
appreciate
we didn't do it at 2:04.
you listening. Yeah. So if you were in the area of the eclipse, did you guys see it?
We did.
What'd you think?
I mean, it got cold.
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, but
All right. How long did it last? Like,
where we're at,
yeah. I mean, like the point that was like worth watching.
You want to know how long it lasted? 4 times longer than Aaron Rodgers' Jets playing career right now.
Oh my goodness!
oh,
Wow.
I saw that today. I was
Yeah.
like, yep.
That's funny.
that is good.
But it was like
Yeah.
it was like 7 minutes of like actual like cool like seeing it go to close to totality
Yeah.
when it gets sunny.
because you could see it started at the top right-hand corner, and then as it began, it just kind of stayed.
Yeah.
And did one of these, and then it started moving away. So
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, but I was just thinking about today, like, it's crazy. Everything got canceled. People just were not working, like,
Yeah.
for 3 hours out of the day, because it started at 12:47 and then would end at, like, 3:40 or whatever. So it's still kind of going while we're doing
Is it
this.
really?
Yeah, like, slowly moving past. But I just love the American society in terms of that if we can celebrate anything,
Anything.
we will find a way. And it's just procrastination, right?
Mhm.
And then coupled with gratification. Like the place we're doing this podcast had a huge party where you could get moon pies and Sunny D and watch the thing. And it's like, why do we have to like every event revolve around food and drink?
Mm-hmm.
Like, can't we just do something and then go about our day?
Go about her day.
Like, it's like everything is looking forward to food and drink. Like, Ramey's reading this book, and she brought it up the other night. It's that All Start Again Monday. And it was like, summertime meant cookouts and barbecue and lemonade and drinks. And then ball games meant hot dogs and corn dogs and drinks. And then birthdays are cake and ice cream. And church dinners are where we were at last night. Bunch of food and desserts. And it's just everything revolves around that.
It's wild too, because in hindsight, if you're younger, especially more so when you're a kid, like that's where it begins, because that's just what you're accustomed to, and that's what you assume that's what you're supposed to do, because that's what we did all these years. Well, like as we begin to get more educated on all of this stuff, and if you're really more in tune to society and how they just want to like push things on you, you realize that there's an agenda there.
Yeah.
In a sense, and like so you kind of have to look kind of past all that and kind of see like why is it being celebrated the way that it is, because like Elizabeth, they didn't have bus drivers because the bus drivers took time off to witness this, so they had to like bunch high school kids, the track team and the girls soccer team together, because they didn't have enough drivers to take the kids to Champaign. Luckily they were both going to the same area.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying though?
Uh-huh.
Like it's in like Kelsey's work. Some of her employees were just like wanting to leave care
Oh, yeah.
to
the
go out there
hospital?
and witness
Huh.
to some. It's like,
Nice.
but like I don't know. It's just crazy. Like I don't know. Ever since like COVID, it's just been
Yeah.
The
whatever.
amount of I drove from Arcola to Mattoon this morning for work, and the amount of traffic heading south, just you're going to spend gas money, food. I mean, I stopped at the station here in town on Broadway. The door, like, barely shut because people were in and out, like, for 4 minutes.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
really just for 4 minutes of,
Yeah.
like, you could have stopped here and
Right.
seemed just fine. Like,
Yeah.
I just don't understand. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I didn't
And
care
I'll
for it, whatever, but
and I'll say this: I guarantee they planned for this whole entire day, like probably a week or two ago.
Oh,
but they won't. But they won't plan their lifestyle
that's
on
true.
a daily
Yep.
basis of just trying. You'll spend the money on fuel, but you're complaining about the gas prices. You complain about the grocery store, but you'll go to the gas station and buy, whatever. Because obviously we know it's not about convenience. It's about, just the amount of, because everything's just so
well, it's
much.
convenient, but
It's not for
healthy.
them. It's not convenient for
Right,
them.
yeah.
So it's like, those are just like the convictions you should have, because if you would stop and think about that long enough, it's like, they probably blew $75 to $100 today for 4 minutes.
Yeah.
But you won't take a week to.
Well, I think people it's funny. Like, obviously being in the gym, like people are like, it's so expensive to diet or whatever. I'm like, okay, hold up. Like, you're very quick to spend money for an event or what you view as like a reward or a treat. But yet, if it's your health or a gym membership or whatever it is, like then that's where we're gonna cut the budget line. And we're seeing that with Asher, like my son. We were talking about it last night on the way home. Like, we want to get away because we fell into the trap. Like, trying to potty train him and get him to go to bed. It's like, hey, like when you go potty, like in the, you get a jelly bean, and so he's like, he's attaching all these, this gratification as a reward to food or to a treat.
Yeah.
And so we were like, well, let's come up with like other ways. Like, let's get some stickers and like some little like Oriental trading toys and like things that we can get. That's like, this is just a thing.
Right.
Or just praise him. Just be like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, and make a big deal out of it instead of everything being like, hey, this is food, or like, we're gonna go get a donut Saturday morning. Like, everything doesn't have to revolve around a treat.
Right.
Those moments are great, like to have them, but they don't have to be like, because like growing up, Friday was pizza night, Saturday was and Sunday after church was chicken at grandma. Like, they're all tied to memories, but the memories are tied to food, which is food's important, but like, what was it beneficial?
Yes.
So how can we balance that? Because you want a kid to have a childhood and to enjoy those things, but it doesn't have to be like, because Asher will be like, go pee now, and he'll be like, I get jelly bean and candy corn. We're like, no, that was for poop.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Pierce and me, we struggle. I don't know what it is as of late, but the same concept with he just doesn't want to sleep, and he doesn't quite understand the whole process of time yet. So like, he wakes up, he just assumes it's time to be awake.
Yeah.
It's 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And he likes, and he does like to sleep. He likes to sneak upstairs and whatever. Well, it just become kind of a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So finally, same thing. It's like, well, if you can sleep in your bed, Monday through Friday night or Saturday night, you can sleep in mom and dad's bed with either me or Kelsey, and one of us will just go upstairs and sleep with Arya. Well, since we started this, doors haven't opened.
Yeah.
He claims that we don't hear him, so like, it's the same. You have to it isn't suckers. It's not, it's not the Easter candy we still have left. It's more of a reward because he does enjoy, he wants to.
Yeah, it's quality. Instead,
quality
you're
time.
taking a reward of like food or drink and making it like quality time, and that's awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, well, that was our Eclipse rant. Welcome to our side of that was our dark side of the moon.
Yeah. Well, would you say Bella still chose Edward?
Oh yeah, Eclipse spoiler alert. Bella chooses Edward. I love that.
That's funny.
That was great.
That was good.
Oh, good news. We're all here. It wasn't the end of the world.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Internet's still up.
Internet's still up. Yep. Nothing didn't end. So
It didn't come in this time either.
Yep. While you're listening to this, you've been 3 days since the world ended.
We're gonna be live.
Cool. So yeah, going back to phase one, we shouted out everybody who's doing 75 hard and phase one in that sense. But what are your thoughts on a weekend? Because last time we recorded, we were the day of.
Definitely a lot more taxing.
Yeah.
Like we talked last night, weekends are great because you can knock out. You don't have as many distractions with work and all that stuff, so you can really hammer stuff out in the morning time, and then you have the rest of your afternoon. Man, those I've had some nights this week where instead of taking the laptop upstairs or whatever, I just grab my phone to work on the project and whatnot, and I hate doing it because that's normally when I go to bed, it's the phone down, book up, and man, it just longer nights than the 75, just because those three little things, trying to find time, and like you said, be present when the family's there. I mean, they get that, like, hey, Dad's got to go walk. I usually do it like right after dinner, so that it's 45 minutes. They're calming the little one down, getting him a bath, so I'm not really missing anything. But yeah, it's definitely a lot harder to plan everything around.
Yeah, it was really hard for me the weekend, probably because everyone is home.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to the way as of now, until I get into a little bit more of a routine and just kind of get in that headspace on the project, and if there's noise, it is really super hard for me to like close my mind off. I don't know who I was talking with.
You and I were talking about it yesterday.
Yeah, and so like it's hard for me because if I hear a noise of anybody in the house, and I'm in the office, like it just, I feel like I need to go attend or I need to be there because it's not that they can't handle it. It's just I don't want to be somewhere that they're not and they could have needed my help or just help. It's a dynamic. I don't really know how to explain. It's just I know if I know Pearson needs something, if I know Ari needs, if any of them need something, it's like, well, I need to get in there and do this. So I can't ever get settled in.
Yeah.
So it's either first thing in the morning, which I've come to realize, or at night, which at night it's hard because by that time I'm pretty much taxed myself mentally. So it's hard to put, words on a keyboard. So it's been last couple of days have actually been a lot harder for me on the weekends.
Yeah. I think like it's another level of time management in terms of like 75 hard. I think is for when you go do 75 hard the first time, like it's developing skills, and then you get to phase 1 and it's like, all right, take those skills and try to master them.
Yeah.
Where it's like the next level, and I think we're gonna see that continue to grow because for us, like Ramey's doing 75 hard now. And it is wild to see the benefit that it has to do it with somebody in your household, because I would say like our marriage is better because we're having to communicate all the time, like to get everything done. It's not just me now. Like I have to worry about, her. If I want to walk at night when the kids are down, I got to communicate that like, because she may need to. And so communication, like with scheduling and we're getting ready for the super busy season. Football's about to start. Summer stuff's about to start. Like, we really are having to communicate, like, this is when we're going to do stuff. This is when I'm going to go. This is when you're going to go. This is when we can go together. But yeah, I mean, it's good that it's 30 days because it's manageable.
Yeah.
If this was 75 days, it would feel like a lot more.
Yeah.
Oh.
So
I don't think you'd see the success rate of 75 days with these tasks like you would, like regular 75 hard.
But you can do anything for 30 days.
Yeah.
Like I think it's a commitment to that. It's close enough to see the end in sight, but it's long enough that it's challenging.
Absolutely. And I mean, even Andy's even said it, I think, since it's been going on 5 years, I think he's only completed Live Hard twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, even for someone like even of his stature who obviously invented this thing, like, so, I mean, it's not foolproof, it's not easy, on a daily task and just trying to incorporate business and life and marriage and fatherhood.
Well, and I think too, like for us, like the whole thing, remembering our why. Why are we doing it? It's not just to complete it, it's to grow and learn from it. What's it going to teach us? How's it going to increase those around us? How's it going to increase our capacity and our mindset and our physical and all those things? And so for us to like, it's the in season. Like there's an off season and then there's an in season. And when you're in these phases, it's like time to take those skills that you practiced and put them to work in the game.
Right.
And so I think what we've seen and what I hope you listeners are seeing is it is impacting people around us. Like it is, and it's not because we're doing it, it's because they're seeing the results that we're having in our families and in our work and in our spiritual life and all these things, because we're not just saying it, we're putting it into practice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and Jeremy, you were with the kids, but Jeremy had shouted out during the encounter yesterday of just kind of during his message, one of the 10% of getting better was that physical and mental, and he brought up the three of us, and so like you got a pastor who, because obviously we post and people see the plunges and they all and so they're fully aware, but when you do see that culture shift a little bit, and people are a little bit more respectful and mindful when they're trying to throw peanut butter pies in your face, and so like
Well, and it even gets brought up on Saturdays when we're at men's group, it's like we talk about discipline and stuff there too, and it's like you couldn't do this, you wouldn't have it if you couldn't do 75 hard without discipline. It's like 100%, like you can't, like it just. And then last night the guy came up and asking us about it, like, so again, he may see it, but just knowing and seeing how we have changed and everything else, it's out there, definitely.
One thing is that sphere of influence. People are interested when you're doing something that's uncommon.
Yes.
And this is an uncommon challenge.
Program.
Sorry, Facebook. It's an uncommon program. And so when people see you living outside the norm and see something different in you,
they get interested. And then the hope is that they decide to commit and try it, because they're going to see the benefits of that. And so Raimi she called me on her lunch and she was talking and she's like, this is my new thing. She's like, I want to be, how did she word it? Because she'll call me out and say, I didn't say that. She said, I don't want to be normal. And
Normal's no fun.
And I was like, that's the hottest thing you've ever
Yeah,
said to
that's
me.
a turn on.
Yeah, I was
right?
like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. I was like, you're getting it. You're
Yeah.
getting it. You're getting it. But I was like, normal sucks. Like,
Yeah.
normal is, normal, like, be crazy. Be nuts.
Mhm.
Go all in. Don't fall into this trap of normalcy where you're just expected to, pick up food and go home and watch Netflix and sleep and work your job and do that for 50 years. And then, oh, cool, you got to retire.
You're right.
And then you do the same things every day.
Yeah. Now, normal's complacency. Normal is procrastinating. Normal is, there's just all these different realms. Because what people are starting to even notice more is that they think, I did it once, I'm good.
Yep.
That's not, and this program is not set up. Each time that you do this, because I've said it before, I learned something new about myself.
Mm-hmm.
To where I've realized that there's certain things I'm going to eventually be without because I continuously do this program, and it's helped me grow in a totally different avenue of life that's impacted me big time.
Yeah, and even Andy says that, anybody can do it the first time. It's that second time when you go, well, I know I can do this.
Mhm.
So then you get a little lazy, and then that's where you see that failure. But when you talk about normal, Jeremy brought this up during service on Sunday, and I said something to Adam about it. Romans 12:2 says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind.
Amen.
Yeah.
I was like, and as soon as he said it, I was like, Adam, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're not conforming. Like,
Yeah.
we're branching out and being outside the box or whatever
Yeah.
you want to call it.
And that's Josh Butler.
I love it, man.
That's Josh Butler. All those years, like that verse, Romans 12:2, is like what he is like.
Yeah.
Set his entire life upon is just that, because he has. I mean, you listen to his story, and so it's a constant renewal. With the Be Transformed group that he has, when you said that, I'm thinking it was cool. Whenever you're like, man,
Yeah.
yes,
It's awesome. Like, how many scriptures or time, like, we get those red letters, times when Jesus talks, and some are like those are the ones where like perk my ears up and listen, like, or like when Paul's speaking on behalf and he's speaking and writing these letters to the churches, like, don't be conformed to this world. Like, okay, so be different. And then like my verse, it's like tattooed on me. Discipline, while at times unpleasant, produces a righteous harvest for those who are trained by it. We see in scripture that don't conform, don't give in to fleshly desire. Like, discipline's important, and yet what's the norm?
Yep.
Instant gratification. And so if we're trying to live according to the scriptures, like, well, then we have to be different. We have to look different.
Mhm.
And not physically, but the way we act and the way we do things. And that's what this program, and it's not just this program, it's doing anything outside the norm.
Mhm.
Like, if you train every day, you are outside the norm.
Mhm.
If you, wake up early and increase yourself, in a way that's, whether it's like books or reading or listening to podcasts, like, that's different. It's different.
Yeah, no, it's good, because I think that with back, the normalcy of society, we've spent a lot. I'd say probably the last 10 years is really society has changed a lot.
Yeah.
It's because I think this technology just continuously speeds up the rate it does, and like our minds aren't programmed to handle the information that we're able to stand on a daily basis. Like, there's a lot of information out there, and so like this program is actually, that's one of the things that it has done for me. It's limited me on being on that so much, because there's so many other things that I'm trying to do outside of these things that I can find myself trying to do and not be stuck on that thing all the time.
Right. Keep talking. I'm trying to find something.
But yeah, so I mean, it's just everything's just altered, and everything's got a purpose and a plan. It's just a matter of to like Rainey's point, even my Kelsey, just like whenever you're Kelsey, she is cold plunging, but at the same time, they're tired of normal. They're tired of feeling a certain way. They're tired of seeing themselves continuously do these peaks and valleys of life. Like, it's one thing to start feeling yourself kind of just slowly go back down that hill, but then you got to recognize it and get yourself back up to the top of the mountain, you know. And so like every time that we do this, it's going to be different. You know, every time we go through the program at 75 hard or live hard or whatever the case may be, because our seasons of life are going to continuously change.
It's hard. It's hard because people want you to be common.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
If I can bring someone to my level, then it's okay. Like going back to, we talked about drinking a lot. Like what is peer pressure? Well, if I can get everyone to do it, then I'm okay.
Yeah.
And so whether it's drinking, eating, like it makes people uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Last night at the dessert auction, when there's a table that's not doing it, like
Yeah.
whether they admit it or not, it's uncomfortable because there's a level of like, well, maybe I shouldn't be doing this because you know they're not, and not saying that they're wrong. Like there's times for that, but there's this shirt that I saw at a concert is from Lecrae, but it said if you live for people's acceptance, you'll die from their rejection.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can try to get accepted by people all you want and try to fit in and be normal, like, but eventually it just doesn't. It doesn't reward you.
No.
So be uncommon.
Well, it goes back to the community. I mean, we are abnormal according to standards, but then this is our normal.
Yeah.
So we fit in with a different set. And just like you said, your friends will constantly change, and if they're not changing and they're not helping you grow, then they're holding you back.
Right.
And sometimes, unfortunately, there's times you got to cut ties, and not necessarily completely cut them, but distance yourself from them to help yourself grow and get to that next level and be able to see that mountaintop of where you want to go and not have this sled behind you, this extra weight.
Yeah. Well, the first time I did 75 hard, I knew that's what I was going to have to do, was completely pull myself away from all the extracurriculars if I was going to complete it. So, I mean, because obviously the drinking was probably one of the bigger things I struggled with the most, as far as just society telling me that's what I'm supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'd always listen. And so first time I did it, I'm like, if I'm going to complete this, I'm going to have to really concentrate and focus on me to be able to get myself past these limits to where I can feel myself more comfortable. And now it's to the point now where I could go to any bar and sit there and I could drink some water with some friends.
Yeah.
Where they, but I'm not going to judge them. Whether they want to think that I'm judging them, that's their prerogative.
Yeah.
That's the ball's in their court. You asked me to come. Well, Shabbing I talked to him, and he had said that, he went and he had some naked wings and at the bar, and he just got water.
Uh-huh.
And the rest of them were just drinking beer, but they didn't pressure him because he explained to him what he was doing, and they were totally on board with that. And that's the
great
people you need.
Great friend. Yeah. That's awesome.
Don't put me down because I'm not drinking. Don't think, well, he's not drinking, he's too good for me. Like, don't be making those kind of comments, because that's not what anyone wants to hear. Like, support me.
Exactly.
Be happy for me. I'm happy for anything else that you would do. Like, so it's like,
be uncommon. Fight the pandemic of complacency. That's what I'm saying, baby.
Yeah. No, I was
and
happy.
be thankful that I'm there, because if you do decide to have more drinks than you should,
Yeah.
I'm there to take you home and keep you out of possibly more trouble.
Yeah. I mean, because
You can speak to that.
Yeah.
100%.
And I mean, just in the temptations of their walks around the bar. If you are happen to be someone of who's married or in a relationship,
Yep.
Like, hey, let's just go and get out of here. Okay, because you see it, they may not.
Mm-hmm.
So like, there's goodness in all that, and I think it's just that people would, just because we're not drinking for 30 or 75 days doesn't change who we are as a person. We're just trying to focus on something for ourselves.
And it opens our eyes. Like, we went to a dinner the other night for a birthday party at a place in Effingham, and just, it was interesting to like sit back and watch like where people put their like we just talked about, their gratification. Like, it was in drinks and watching the ball game, and then there's nachos on every table, and people are ordering appetizers and food, and it's like, we're gonna get our burger with no bun because we're gonna be, but then you start looking around and you're like, what kind of lifestyle do people live? Like, and not the people necessarily we were with, but just the place. You look around and you're like, the majority of these people are out of shape, obese and these things. And it's like, well, they can't be healthy. They can't be happy with where they are, but yet their decisions continue to lend to that lifestyle. And you hear other tables, listening, talking about diet plans and starting to, it's like, oh, is this, you can start Monday? Like, all those things. So.
Well, and the people, and this is just real talk, I mean, you have no one to blame but yourself. If you're unhappy with the situation in your life, if you're unhappy with the way you feel, the way you look, all this, you're dragging, I'm bloated, I feel so sluggish. It's like, well, you need to have a conversation with yourself. What are you doing? Like, take a screenshot of your week in your mind and think, okay, what am I doing Monday through Friday, at least with my diet? What am I doing Monday through Friday when it comes to exercise? What kind of sleep am I getting? What am I obviously ingesting when it comes to the material that I'm reading or watching? So it's like, these are the types of things that you have to do that, like I think I text that one guy, check up from the neck up.
Yep.
Like, you're going to have to do a complete rekindling or renewing of your mind to get yourself to understand. Because if you're totally committed to something on how you feel and how you're going to look, then you're going to have to take a long look in the mirror, because every day that you don't, the journey, that end goal gets further and further and further away, and you get to the point where it gets so hard that you don't even worry about it anymore. You're just going to go this way.
And I'm reading between Nick's book and it's Eric Thomas, UOU, and like the first couple chapters is about that victim mentality, and you think you're blaming everybody else for the decisions that you've made. Like you said, you control what you're doing, and just like it's you versus you. It's not you versus anybody else. Like, it's you versus you. Look in that mirror and have that conversation of, what do I need to change, and how do I go about doing it on a daily basis? And Goggins did his whole Post-it notes and whatnot on his accountability mirror, and it was a daily reminder when he looked in it. Oh, hey, don't do this, be better at this.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be courageous in yourself and be able to pick out your own flaws.
You be vulnerable.
And if you can't, you ask somebody. Be ready for the hard truth if you want someone to tell you the truth. And don't take it personal. Just realize they're coming from a place of love. Because you asked, and they, like, if it would be one of us, it might be a hard truth, but I'm coming, one, from experience, and two, I've been there, and three, because, dude, I want to see you get better.
Yeah, and no one's coming to rescue you.
Nope.
Like, they've got their own things that they're trying to deal with. No one's gonna come say, hey, I'm gonna, because unless you make the decision yourself, I've come alongside all kinds of people in training and stuff, and until the first thing we do when somebody comes in the gym and says they want to train or they want to lose weight, why? And if they say they got a vacation, I'm like, that's not good enough. Like, it's not good enough. Like,
It's
what's
a start, but it's not going
to
to carry you through after that vacation.
Right. What is your underlying why? Why do you want to lose the weight? Why do you want to get stronger? Because I can't, until you decide for yourself that it's something that you want to change, it's not going to change. Like, from my own experience, like, no one was rescuing me when I was over 300 pounds. I didn't like the way I looked. I could go ask people. They'd be like, oh, like, eat this, eat that. But I wasn't willing to look myself in the mirror and say, you need to make a change, until I was. And then it took work, and it took commitment, and it took time. But once you decide for yourself, then that's when change occurs.
And you had that hard conversation. Your coach had that hard conversation. Like, hey, man, like, at your rate, you're not going to live to
see an eclipse.
If you would have kept going and you got 2 kids and you're married, like, if you would have kept down that path, where would you be today?
Yeah, right. And so with that, and then he went back to just being a coach. But it was a hard conversation, and then it wasn't. Then I had to make the change. So if you need to have a hard conversation with yourself, have it. Like, look yourself in the mirror and say, I don't like that I do this thing. I don't like that that I'm overweight. I don't like that I don't train. I don't like that I'm not growing. I don't like that I'm not plugged into. I don't like that I don't have a relationship with my creator. I don't like that I am smoking or drinking or watching porn. Like, you have to have that hard conversation with yourself and realize the things that it is causing in your life. Like, there's consequences for all of our actions, good or bad. Consequence for going to the gym at 5 a.m., we start a day early and we get better. Consequence for drinking, you're going to have a bad morning. Like, there's a cause and effect for everything we do.
100%. 100%. So, yeah. Wow. Yeah. Because, I mean, I think to myself a lot of times with our family, it was a trauma for me when Mom passed, because, like, these are the blessings, these are the parts where I think to myself, man, if I don't start taking care of myself, what's my next 30 years going to look like for me? And so I always try to think to myself, there's got to be a way to be able to reach people. It's, if you're going to continue down that path, how much longer are you going to have here if you continue down that path? Whereas if you take more of a healthier route, you might gain yourself a little extra time. You're going to go regardless. It's up to him. But at the same time, like, why not feel good about the times when you are? Because, I mean, the endorphin kicks and just the joy and just the way that you feel whenever you're starting to gain those strides of just success and just those positive gains. Like those are what you want to take with you. You don't want to be so sluggish and ran down where you're just sitting on the couch and just wishing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you need to be out there doing. You know, and I guess what Jeremy talked about too, about just being doers.
Yeah.
You know, you can't sit on your hands, and so you got to get out there and you got to do.
It's painting. I'm a doer.
Yeah, let's go.
I love it. Well, I think with that, like, that reality check kind of leads a nice transition into the word for the week, which is from Andy's The Book on Mental Toughness.
You know, gratitude.
No, similar. We are on positivity.
Boom.
So, Webster's Dictionary defines it the quality or state of being positive. Andy says, looking for the upside in any situation, not dwelling on mistakes, and offering solutions to problems. It means never playing the victim, crying for what you don't have, or wasting time wishing instead of doing.
Well, you know, there's an upside to every down.
Yeah.
You know, like we've all failed at this once, at least once, and we learned from it. So the next time we do it, we take what we learned and we applied it, and then we got better. So every time you fail at something or don't succeed, like there's always a positive that comes out of it, no matter what. If you allow it, I guess. Because there's times if you just go, oh, I can't do it, and you give up, then you're not learning anything. But if you take it and you go, okay, why did I fail? Why didn't I accomplish this task? And then you again have that hard conversation with yourself. Well, because I wasn't committed for this, or you know, I just got lazy on this. Then you know that, and then you go, okay, so next time I could do this better. I could do this better. So yeah.
Because I know the first few times is patience or procrastination. You know, because obviously there's times you want to sit there and you want to wait. You know, you want to have a little bit of those patience. But then, or am I procrastinating? You know, to where am I putting off too much time because, well, I'm just trying to talk myself out of doing something because of, you know, X, Y, and Z. Or if I'm just patient, you know, those things I think will eventually apply itself and be brought to you.
Yeah.
And so, but from the positivity standpoint, man, I have a really hard time being around negative people. Because it does wear on me at times, because it can be something that I don't see how people just can't be blessed because of the things that we have. You know, I don't know if that's because I've been deployed a couple of times, or I've just had some traumas that just kind of just humbled me in a sense. But like, man, I can't be around them, and it's hard because I deal with it a lot at work, and so it's just hard for me to just kind of gravitate towards all that stuff, because it just I find myself I'm a victim of a product of my environment, you know, and so I'm human, and so it's going to happen. So I just have to make sure that I'm around more positive, like-minded people, because that's what's going to drive me and motivate me to want to excel at whatever it is I'm trying to do.
I mean, you're upright and breathing. What else could you be? I mean, that's the most positive thing there. Yeah. You're upright and breathing on a daily basis. All that other stuff, just let it go, man. It's not worth holding on to.
Yeah, I think like when Andy kind of talked about like past mistakes, like you're dragging those things behind you, but that's not who you are right now. It's not who you are today. And so I think a lot of positivity is living in the moment and being like, right now sucks. Whatever your situation is, there's times where it's hard. Like you lose a loved one, something happens, you're in a dark place. Like finding the positivity in those things, like, is so important. And you know, I've been blessed that I have a very positive outlook at all things. Like sometimes to a fault, where you know, but you know, sports guys, like we were bad in college. Like our football team was bad, and so, but I always had this innate positivity. Like fourth quarter down 20, I don't know why I thought we would win like I was in the like, all right, we're gonna score, get the ball back, score. And it's the same, like when we play basketball on Saturday, I can be down 8-2, and I'm like, we're gonna win this thing.
Yeah,
and we did.
But I'm saying, like, it's that innate positivity to find the moment in every situation that you can take and be like, I'm gonna make the most of this. Like it just takes one or two stops and get on a run, and then you know start scoring and those things. And so it takes one decision to start to get out of bed, to take a shower, to pull yourself out of somewhere, because you just keep it rolling. You just find those little positive things.
What would you tell somebody, like, let's say, a listener who's probably struggling to get rolling? I mean, what would you try to tell them to get that? Since you have more of that innate positivity, like, how would you go about just having a conversation with somebody about, hey, yeah, I've seen where you've done this, this, and this, with some of your coachings, like some of the people you have on the Be Transformed or the Transformers, what kind of conversations would those look like?
Yeah, so, that's a good question.
Turn it back on you.
Yeah, I think it comes back to what we're doing here. Like, you've got to have a why, a deep why, but then also a why each day and a what. And so if you're, like, I think back to, like, in college when there's nobody really around and I was pretty depressed, as later I kind of realized that's where I was at. Like, I woke up each day, and what kept me from, like, slipping real bad was I had things I was going to do each day.
Yeah.
I was going to get up, I was going to shower, I was going to go to the gym, and that was it. Some days that was it.
Okay.
So find something each day to get you out and do something. If it's a singular task, if you're laying in bed and you're depressed and you're in this anxiety and depression that's rampant, like, find something each day to be useful. Like, whether it's getting up and cleaning the kitchen, doing a task, feeling useful, finding it's awesome I have a kitchen I get to clean.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's awesome I can take a shower. It's awesome it can be warm.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. It's awesome I can go walk outside. Whatever it is, find a purpose each day, even if it seems minimal. And that's what I would say.
Okay. Yeah, because after reading Nick's book, listening to the guy that you guys had that conference with who had no limbs, so, yeah, walking is, for a lot of people, it's a privilege to have, and, be able to do those types of things where some just can't, or not at the pace that they once did or would like to, just even roll my ankle, not being able to play basketball on Saturday, it was, it's fine, I'll be out there playing, but it sucked.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't be there, and so it was different.
But the blessing, the positivity in that is, like, now you've experienced how awesome it is to get to do that.
Well, I just been feeling a setback, and knowing now, though, through all this with the program, like, I know how to handle it.
Yeah.
I'm icing the crap out of it just because I want to get back, so we all can play basketball together and just have that competition.
Yeah.
Because, competition breeds success, or, I don't know, whatever you said. So it's like iron sharpens iron, so it's, again, it's like-minded people, it's a community, and so, like, that's why with the Transformers, that's why I asked that question, because, people sometimes don't really understand what little tasks they can complete to gain that positive momentum, and just going, like, for me especially, if I'm dragging, I'm going for a walk.
Yeah.
Because to me, being outside, doing that, getting just some, even with Kelsey, like, just the two of us, because it's quiet. We're not saying dad, 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 mom, mom, mom.
Yep.
We can actually have a conversation, so it's kind of nice. But, like, those are like, for me, make my entire day.
Yeah. And I think too, like Andy said, like, the victim mentality. Like, if I sit in my sorrow and life sucks, this is horrible, I can't do anything, like, the situation's hopeless. Well, going back to what we were talking to, no one's coming to rescue you. Like, it's one step. Like, go for a 10-minute walk. An object in motion stays in motion. Yeah. Like, you got to slowly take steps. Find the positive each day in something. And it goes back to gratefulness. Gratefulness to have the moments. Like, there's times I don't want to do things. I'm like, I did not want to go have this conversation with this person, or I don't want to have this meeting, or
don't want to take a cold shower.
Yeah. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. But finding the great, I'm so excited that I get to do this. That I'm grateful I have the ability to do this challenge, this program. But, like, those things. And so, the cold shower, we'll talk about it every week. 7 days is horrible. But I'm trying to get myself to the point, like, I'm grateful that I have the support and the community to keep me on this challenge. And if it's a 5-minute cold shower,
your pinky toe,
I'm in it. I'm gonna be positive about it. I'm gonna be grateful that I get to do the challenge another day.
Yeah.
Yep. And so, and shout out my wife Rami, who cold plunged for 5.5 minutes the other day, and she acted like it was so easy, and I'm still very upset. But she wanted me to post, and she's like, I just want you to say you can do hard things, and that's good. You can do hard things.
Yeah, you can, and then and that hard, it can be whatever your heart is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like cold is your heart.
It is.
You
my
know,
heart.
it is your heart. You know, and but in 30 days, yeah, you'll be probably glass over, but you'll reflect on that you did it. You accomplished it, and so like we'll support you. We'll throw some ice in that barrel on that last day. Get it a little bit colder for you. Maybe we'll dunk you.
It is seriously. I just hate the cold. Like, and maybe some people hate water, like to drink. They're drinking a gallon a day, or maybe people hate dieting. That stuff's fine. Or hate walking or training. That's fine. But like, I don't think the listeners fully comprehend how much I hate being cold. I should have never left Florida. I hate the cold. I hate winter. And so to take 5 minutes and do like it sucks. It doesn't matter. It's so bad. But you can do hard things, and I hate every minute of it. It's not fun. So do your hard things. It's fine. But I digress.
I mean, I'm enjoying it. It's not.
Dude, it is I tried to get 10 in yesterday because I just find myself with positive music, and I close my eyes and I just sit there, and I go elsewhere. Like I tried to I couldn't get it. It was too cold. I made it to like 6.5 or whatever, but I just disconnect my mind from everything that's going on around me, and I am good. And it sucks.
It's a special skill though.
I got to talk myself into it every morning.
Yeah.
Those windy mornings and everything else. Like I got to talk myself into it. But once I'm in and I'm settled, disconnect everything, and I don't hear the cars driving by. I mean, there's been mornings that like TJ's walked in and I have no clue.
I've said bye to you a couple times and nothing.
Yeah, I'm
totally out somewhere else.
Yep.
Cool. Good job, snowman. Warm.
I guess it helps because I work outside too, so there's benefits to it.
I'll go sit in a 200-degree sauna for a half an hour. I will die in a sauna before before I'm like, oh, this is horrible. That's fine. Phase 2 needs to be like a 20-minute sauna. That'd be perfect.
Perfect. Yeah.
Game on. Let's go.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. So that's awesome. Any thoughts?
I'll just keep rocking and rolling.
Yeah, man.
Keep rocking and rolling, listeners.
Find the break of dawn.
Find a program, whether it's 75 hard, whether it's phase 1, whether it's whatever is a challenge for you. Go and do it. Be a doer. Like, find the positive. Go and do things. Save yourself. Look yourself in the mirror. All the good stuff. We got a lot of little tidbits this episode.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and we got some things in the works. Hopefully, everybody's been writing.
Yeah. I have about just under 1,000 words.
Nice.
So it's probably 4 pages.
I like
I'm
it.
right about 3.
Yep.
Well, I could probably say more than 3 because I started one word, got stuck, jumped on another word, and then it just like spewed out of me for a little bit. I'm like, oh, okay, this is good.
Love it.
I mean, I don't know how redundant it might be, but that's
all right.
Just the fact that.
Yeah, and we can clean that up when we meet and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think that's the other thing too. Like, continue to challenge yourself. Like when you get comfortable, like we were talking about being normal. When you get comfortable, find the next thing that pushes you to be uncomfortable. Like what we're doing. We were pretty comfortable, and then we were all like, let's write a book, and it was like, oh gosh, everybody freaked out.
Definitely puts you out of the comfort zone.
Well, it's mental. I haven't dove into that part of myself in a long time. So it's, the creativity in me is probably it's been dormant, honestly. Because of life. And so those things have been pulled out of me. Everything's always been mostly physical. Most of my jobs have been physical. And so, like, I've always told even Kelsey that, like, there's times where I'm like, man, I just can't see how she does this stuff. Well, she's the brains and I'm the brawn. Yep. She has a hard time doing the physical, but she could sit there all day and read books upon books, be a book critic.
This morning, I said I'm going to make it to Memorial Day. Well, then you only got like 2 weeks left, so why quit?
Yeah.
If you're that far in, just keep going.
That's right. Make it to next week. Hey, all you got to do is just pick a thing and make it to the next podcast. Podcast. It's fine. We'll be here next week, and then hopefully you're still on it. No, you will still be on it. You'll still be on it.
Is the ultimate rebellion.
That's right. Love it.
Freedom.
Love it. All right. That's episode number 15.
Boom.
Peace.
Strike 'em. Hit 'em.